Hello and welcome to Drop a Line. I am Alec Pangia and thank you for dropping by. We are really excited tonight because we are going to be having an in-house discussion with One True Promotions' very own Nicholas Georgel. You are watching on Facebook, you are watching on YouTube, you are watching on Twitch, and you are watching on Instagram. Hello, Instagram. We thank you very much for dropping by tonight, and we are going to go ahead and get the show started. See you in just a second. Hey there, how you doing, sir?
Hello, Alec.
It's good to see you, my friend. Whoop! Oh boy, interference. Okay. Is that me? Is that me? Is that me? Is that me? Okay. How you doing now? Is that any better?
Yeah, I got you on my phone on Instagram, and I got you here. So
That came off my phone. Andrew, in the background, could you let me know real quick if you can hear me on Instagram? Because I decided to lower Instagram and turn on my computer volume. So as long as we're all squared away on Instagram and you good folks can hear us, we are in business. So, is there any interference on your end, Nick? Yeah, I hear something.
yeah, not sure how that's working out.
Whoa. Okay, you know what? Maybe this mic is a little too loud. So here we go. Here we go. Here we go. About now. Are we good now? Hello. Hello. Hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Well, I'm muted now. I'm muted on my computer now, and I got my phone audio on. Is there any interference? Any noise? I'm going to turn the volume up on my phone. Whoa. Okay, that's weird.
Okay, now I got you projecting on my speakers. I could put in one of these, maybe do like that, but I don't know if that's what's causing it.
Can you try muting your computer, Nick? Because it'll still pick up our audio on the computer, even if we're muted, and I can hear you on my phone.
So now I've muted my computer, and I hear you through the phone.
I can hear you with a lot less interference now. Are we good, Andrew, now? Is that better?
Hello.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was that's a weird thing I still don't fully understand is a technical error when the computer audio is running. But anyway, we're here now. Oh, you got it, man. You got it. For those of you who missed the intro, thank you for sticking around for the technical issues. This is One True Promotions. Drop a line. Thank you for dropping by. We are on with our very own arts and media director, Nicholas Georgel, a role that is very recent to Nick as we started it over the summer. And he is also a writer who published Life is Death, The Death of Earth. And he is an artist who has been frequently entertaining viewers of One True Promotion on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube and Twitch on Writing Sprints with Andrew. So, Nick, you are pretty much a celebrity in One True Promotion. Thank you for being on Drop a Line. This is your first time on Drop a Line. What is up?
I know, it's been too long. Me and Alec have actually known each other for a while, and not as part of One True Promotion, but we were both involved in filmmaking, and we both went to the same university together, and we bumped into each other quite along the way. But we reconnected during this whole quarantine time, and One True Promotion has grown, and I am very happy to be here. That we've been wanting to do this for a while, for me to hop on, because I've been on. You've probably seen me on Writing Sprints by this point, for any of you who have been there for Writing Sprints, but I am now here with Alec on his very popular Drop a Line show. Very happy to be here.
We're happy to have you here, man. So, we have known each other for a little while. I remember when I don't know if it was the first time we met, but my old man brain remembers it back about as far as our encounter at the Lit Bash that one year when we were standing in line for some food.
Yep, that's right. Yeah.
And you used to come into SSTV now and then too, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, no, yeah. Because I was involved in filmmaking. Now, I wasn't as involved early on, but then later in college, I majored in communication studies and got involved with that. But what I'm advertising tonight is my essentially my artist and author persona. That's my contribution to One True Promotion, and I know that's what I got for you guys, basically, who are interested in my works.
So I want to do something a little bit differently tonight. I'm going to let the talent choose. I'll still direct the interview, but I'm going to let the talent choose what we start with. So Nick, you tell me, what should we talk about first? Should we talk about your career as an artist or an author?
Well, let's start at me being an author, because that's what actually came first, actually.
Beautiful. I would love to start there as an author, because what I've been dying to say to you, Nick, is that It's taken me a little while. I've known you for quite a while, but I've been, life gets a little busy sometimes, and it's taken me longer than I wanted to finally sit down and read your book, Life is Death, the Death of Earth. But I have to tell you, especially knowing that this was your first crack at a published novel, it is a very, very well written book. It is a very nicely composed book. It is very it's a joy to read out loud. I love reading it for live readings, but not only that, but it's a really fascinating, fun concept too. It really is an impressive first book. So
thank you.
Tell me, you're most welcome. Tell us a little bit about, how, what was the genesis of Life is Death?
Yeah, well, I can tell you, it's an interesting story, actually, because I never even fully got to tell you the genesis. But first, let me show everybody, before I fully explain, I'll plug the book. So this is my first novel. It's called Life is Death, the Death of Earth. Very short synopsis, real quick. I'll read it off the back since it's here. Daichi Hara has just become a death. With a new power and a forced quest, he must battle the powers of good and evil, save his friends, and find out the dark truth of his past. So I could go into it more, and I will, but that's the quick synopsis that's on the back of the book. I published it in 2015. This past July was its 5th anniversary, actually. And it is meant to be part of a series. This is book 1 of, it's The Death of Earth, but of the Life is Death series. So this story, I was inspired, as many people were. When we grew up in the 2000s, the Harry Potter fantasy craze was going on, where there's like a teen becomes a power, or not a power, but like, for example, like Percy Jackson. He's involved in the Greek mythology. Harry Potter finds out he's a wizard. So I wanted to tackle something similar, but anyone who looks into the story and can probably already tell, it's very anime inspired with some Japanese names. So my thought was, what if a boy finds out he's a Grim Reaper, a death?
Awesome.
And I call them deaths. And that was the genesis of it. Boy finds out he's a Grim Reaper and he's responsible for people dying. I thought, what would that be like? And of course, I expanded on that. And back during junior year of high school, me and my close friend, who was an artist that we knew each other, we actually tackled the story first in the medium of manga. So what we did was I did a couple of the first chapters in manga form with my friend, and I would do like these stick figures, because I actually didn't know how to draw at the time. Get this, because you're hearing me say that and you're like, well, why didn't you just draw it? Well, I actually didn't know how to draw. I did as a kid, but I kind of lost it. So we tackled it in manga form, but it was too big of a story to put into one thing. So, I was always into reading, and so I thought, you know what, let's make a book that gets everything I want down, because I know I can write, because I tried it before in the past, and so I really wanted to commit myself. And in about senior year of high school, spent the whole year and got this. I published it. My friend did the art for it, and it came out, and we got it. And I'm really proud of that. So that's basically the story, Alec, of how it came together.
So I missed that last part. Come back, Instagram. Don't be like this.
Yeah, it faded out.
This to me. Yeah.
Hold on. You hear me on the computer, Alec?
Yeah,
it faded out.
There we go. I can hear you now.
Okay.
There we go. A couple technical issues tonight, not a problem. Could you just say that last sentence again for me, buddy?
I was saying that that's basically the genesis of it, that I, started as a manga form. I was not the artist, and then I completed it as a novel. And I'm very proud of that.
So, well, you should be proud of that, because it's a fine accomplishment. So, I have some experience there. I also am not an artist, and I have relied on close friends and colleagues for any of the concept art or cover art that I have for my books. And so my question for you is, what was, okay, let me see if I can get the wording for this question.
Yep.
You are currently an artist and an author. But back when you were just an author, like what was it like to receive your cover art for the first time? What did that feel like?
Well, it was yeah, it was there's no words. It was illuminating because my friend Dalton, he was in graphic design, and he was the author, the artist of the manga. Now, when he tackled this and showed me that it was basically a visual metaphor of Earth dying, it refreshed me. It was exhilarating, and it made me more eager to publish it. Actually, I would say that's the biggest thing. Like once you have a cover like that, it made you feel like, wow, this is a real thing now.
Absolutely. So, what do we have an echo currently?
A little bit.
We have an echo currently. Let's see what we got here. Okay. Welcome, Alexis. Thank you for watching the show. Welcome, Carrie. Thank you for joining us. Carrie is another member of the One True Promotion team. We have the whole gang together tonight. That's pretty awesome.
Hey, Carrie.
So, tell us a little bit about the passage of time between being an author, publishing your book, and then deciding, hey, I'm going to be an artist as well. Was that a lot of time? Was it a journey to go from one to the other? Tell us a little bit about that.
That's a very good question because that you're hitting the nail on the head there. There was a good amount of time, and I'll admit, because Life is Death, the story, once you read it, me having a very filmmaking background, I actually think very visually, as you now know more now seeing me as an artist. So the big thing is, how do I put it down? I think I wanted to express the story visually to some degree. And I don't want to say writing was a compromise, because writing still got the story, and I still love it. But there was something I felt like, I wish I could depict this scene visually. There was always an element of that. And, after, I would say about during college, I'll say this. So I published the book in about 2015. I didn't know how to draw then. I started learning how to draw in about 2017, midway through college. And, I wasn't very good. The stuff you've seen really is only about like 2 years of me practicing. So it was a lot of time, Alec. It took a while to get into drawing. So yeah, there was a big passage of time, Alec. You all good on this echo?
Yeah, we're still working on the echo. Is your audio on your computer muted over there on your end?
Here, can you? I am hearing you. Can you speak real quick?
Hello. Testing 1, 2, 3.
Oh well, I took this out. No, yeah, you're coming in on my earphones.
Right. Yeah. What I did to counteract the echo was I have you on my phone on Instagram, and I have the computer muted because it still picks up the audio on the video, but it cancels out the noise interference from having the computer audio running in the room. So are you muted as well? Go ahead and mute your computer, and then I'll be able to hear you you'll be able to hear me on your phone. That's how that should work.
Okay, I just muted my speakers.
Cool. Yeah, and you can still hear me on your iPhone, right?
So I only hear you on the iPhone. Yeah, I don't hear you. Like, this is useless. No.
Yeah. So is the sound good? Can you hear what I'm saying on the iPhone? Are we all good?
Yeah. Sorry, I don't know why you didn't think of that.
No, it's okay. Hey, listen. There's a lot to think about when you're live on the air. You know what I mean? We don't always think of anything. Okay, so we're both of our computers are muted now, right?
Yes.
Right. So
I understand the problem. Yes. Sorry.
Okay, so Andrew, let me know.
Sorry, everybody.
Hey guys, it is okay. Thank you so much, by the way. Thank you for watching Drop a Line on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube, and Twitch. By the way, if you are watching on any one of those platforms, please leave us comments and questions. We would love to answer your questions. You can leave one for me, you can leave one for Nick, you can leave one for both of us. You can mingle with each other, and you can ask us our opinion on something. Drop a Line is an open discussion, and we would love to take your questions. And by the end of the show, I'm going to be letting you know where to promote Nick. So if you are a big Nicholas Georgel fan, you're a big art fan, you are not going to be disappointed with the duration of this show. So
yeah.
So-
Let's get back into it, Alex.
oh yeah. So one thing that I really want to know about is what inspires your art style.
Oh, look, that's a great question. So I'm inspired by a lot of mainly, as my friends all jokingly say, and people who are fans of me, they say the first thing they all say to me is retro style or 80s style. I'm a big fan of anime, as people know, and you see I've drawn several anime characters. But not only that, I'm a big fan of old anime. I love films like, a big one, people probably seen stuff like Akira, Ghost in the Shell, and also many obscure other things. Devilman, some of my favorite artists are Go Nagai, Leiji Matsumoto, like a famous old 80s show that people may have heard of in America called Star Blazers. One I like, it was called Space Battleship Yamato. So stuff like that. A lot of those retro stuff from the 70s, I draw in that style. I'm not going to pretend that I am slightly borrowing it. I wholeheartedly draw in that style because
Well,
the thing was, I wanted to kind of, as an artist, have something like a sort of new flavor, like take the old and hopefully do it in a new way. I mean, I'm still working on it. I won't pretend I'm the best, but I think I'm nailing it though. And people who are following my page are definitely like, I love getting comments when I see people saying, "Oh, I love your retro style." That means I'm doing the right thing. So it's been a good response on that end.
that's awesome. And that leads me to two responses. One is that you really hit the nail on the head of your in your response about originality. Everything has been done at this point in time. You know what I mean? Every idea has been tried, every style has been discovered. I mean, it's gotten to the point where we're kind of, when you look at music today, we're in kind of like a retro 80s resurrection kind of era in music. And the same is true about books, the same is true about art. Art really, in my opinion, grows not from everybody inventing something new, but from everybody taking their inspirations and just figuring out how to put their own unique spin on it.
Yeah.
I have a friend once who, I have a friend who we both grew up reading Harry Potter, and Harry Potter is ever inspiring to us. And she once said to me that when she read the end of Harry Potter, the final book, she thought to herself, well, J.K. Rowling just said everything I wanted to say in my books. So the process for her was, for years after that, just considering your inspirations, reflecting upon your inspirations, getting to know yourself as a person, and you grow and mature. And then when you launch into a project, realizing, here's something I can say in my own words, or here's something I can depict with my own approach to this style. So I really think you hit the nail on the head of what it really means to be creative. And I definitely think you should never be discouraged. You should definitely be encouraged by that. And the other thing I wanted to say was that I think that it's really in right now. I kind of mentioned this already. I think it's really in. People are really loving retro styles at this point in history. Do you find that happens a lot in communities you interact with?
Yes. Yeah. Now, I'm from what I see. Yes. Now, I'll put it this way. With art these days, I will admit there is definitely it's a bit of a mix. Like most people are using tablets these days. Like one thing, for example, that people can probably already tell is I draw traditionally. I do draw by hand, and it's not that I have anything against digital. It's more I don't have a drawing tablet yet, like because I want one with a screen. But no, yeah. But I also see a lot of people are doing hand drawn stuff and taking photos. I would say it's a healthy blend. What I would say in the art community that I see, especially looking around on Instagram, is there's a healthy balance of both. And I don't really see like oh, you draw digitally, that's not real. And I don't really see any like, oh, why don't you draw digitally? Everyone's doing it like with traditional stuff. But for me, I would say that now that's me speaking broadly of the community. For me, what I've been seeing, which is interesting, is a lot of times when I draw some retro characters once in a while, like a piece of fan art, like maybe Captain Harlock from this obscure 70s, some people respond like, "Oh my god, you drew this character! Oh my god!" Like I find other fans that like that similar niche because they exist. I'm not alone in that, and sometimes my more retro stuff gets a better response because that's the thing, Alec. When I started learning, and I've been trying to find my style along the way, I was thinking like at first I thought of the retro style like, oh no, I shouldn't lean in toward there. No one's doing that. But then I thought, wait a minute, no, I can learn from that and apply it, and maybe develop into something new. And I thought, don't worry about what people think. I was like, lean into it. If you're influenced by it, do it. And
Absolutely.
I did it.
And that's another nail you hit right on the head, is that art is about doing. The most frustrated artists I know, the ones that, it really breaks my heart every single time. And I've made somewhat of a side career of encouraging people I know to just do it, to just take a shot at it. Because the most frustrated people I know have these amazing ideas in their heads, but they have imposter syndrome and they talk themselves out of it. They say, I don't have the time. They say, I don't have the talent, which is always so fascinating to me. It's like when I started writing, I was not very good at composing a compelling sentence. Everything was very he said, she said, and then this happened, and then this happened. She felt this. I had a lot of time describing in elegant ways what I wanted to say in my stories. I had trouble finding my words, but I, for one thing, had a great community around me, a great workshop community that held my head to the fire a little bit and gave me some instruction. And over time, I just kind of figured my way out of doing that. Like, it really is all about doing. And there's this little voice in our heads that's always trying to talk us out of it. And the most frustrated people I know, I believe, are listening to that voice a little too much.
I 100% agree there. I've learned that. I learned that a little early on too. It's my philosophy in life. What you just said. It's like you gotta do it. And when you think you've done your best, do even better the next time. Keep
That's
going.
right.
And that's the thing. And that's the greatest thing. I'm still learning, but also I've come a long way. But that's the thing. That's the biggest thing you'll learn if there's anyone out there who's listening who maybe wants to get into art. Take for somebody who actually wasn't into making art in the first place. Like, we all love art, but to actually do it, and not only just art, but writing a book, you got to try. You got to, because it sounds cliche, but maybe it's cliche just because it's true. Is that that your failures, because failure is a strong word, but think of it as experimentation. You have to experiment, try different things, and through those experiments, you learn where to go forward. Because not everyone knows what to do right away, but if you don't try, then you're not going to know. So I agree with you 100%, Alex.
It's very true, very true. And by the way, we have, I want to clarify, I'm definitely not attacking anybody. If I sound like I'm attacking the crowd, I do apologize for that. There are no attacks here on Drop a Line, only words of encouragement. And Amy says, hand-drawn is great, but isn't digital better for making revisions? Great question. I like that question.
That's a good question. Yeah, no, it's just a fact. That is a fact right there. Digital is essential for if you want the ease of making revisions. It's not even a contest. You have the undo button. There's no erasing, and those little things save time too. I've almost considered doing digital just as a time saver because now you're not erasing. Now it's button, undo the line.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
But then again, there's a nice tactile feel of it's nostalgic, but just drawing on a paper. I think it's good to do both. I try not to think of it as like, oh, you should only do one or the other. I incorporate digital into my art, as people see. I often use screen tones, so my art is a little bit hybrid as well. I do incorporate some digital aspects, but yeah, digital is easier for revision. But I think it's good to try traditional materials anyway, even if it's not your main thing.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I find sometimes you just got to be away from a screen, you know?
That too, yeah.
Oh,
It's, especially for my work too. I do a lot of video work, hence I'm looking at a screen a lot of the time. And
that's right.
well, that's okay, but we're living in a digital world, and hell, we got phones all the time. You're totally right, Alec. It's
Mhm.
sometimes you need to step away, and for me, it does feel like I'm stepping away. It's like now I'm on the paper. You know?
When I was substituting back in, what was it? It was 2017. It was 2016 to 20. No, it was 2017. What am I talking about? 2017 to 2018. I was a substitute and I brought my computer to work every day and I took all kinds of notes on my notepad on my iPhone. But when I went to my next school from 2018 to 2020, I was in an environment where basically you didn't want to bring any technology with you because there was there was a lot of chaos in the room. So that year I got into carrying a little notebook in my pocket and it completely set me free.
Really?
Completely set me free. For 2 straight years, I did nothing but handwritten notes, and it really was just so liberating. The feeling was almost indescribable. It's just like being out in nature, you know.
Well, that's a great tip. I might put a pin in that and do that either with like a little sketch pad or yeah, for writing too. If you have like a quick idea or concept, jot it down, right?
Pardon me. Pardon me. Keep going.
No, I was saying I might have to steal that idea or give that a go, and because that sounds really awesome, Alex. That worked out for you.
And the best part is they don't cost that much. You know, you can pick them up at Rite Aid or Walgreens, and they have those pocket-sized ones, which I love. So you don't have to carry a bag with you everywhere you go. You can slip them in your pocket. You can slip a pen in the pocket. And I just got into the habit of just whipping them out and leaning against the wall and being like this. You know, like I think I looked like a journalist, but I was like, no, I'm a fiction writer. I'm having like crazy fantasy adventures right now. That brings me to another question. So you said you're very anime inspired, but I want to know a little bit about story and theme. Like what kinds of stories are you drawn to?
Oh, that's a great. Yeah, I was speaking broadly a bit, but yeah, I can get into that more. Yeah, the kinds of stories I'm into. I mean, I'm driven greatly by character. My philosophy for writing any story is that character, basically everything. Now, that's not to say plot and theme aren't important. In fact, that they're more not more important, but like I think they stem from character for sure. So for me, but even in terms of aesthetics, I would say, yeah, I like character driven stories. I like big stories. I'm not gonna lie. Like I love sci-fi a lot. Hence like in a lot of old anime, there's a lot of wackadoo sci-fi. I've been watching this one called Galaxy Express 999. It's about space trains. Like they're steam trains, but they're traveling through space. It's like it's got an old timey aesthetic, but it's futuristic at the same time. Same with this one manga called Space Battleship Yamato. It's about a
Yeah,
space battleship, World War II, traveling through space.
that's amazing.
So that kind of stuff I really love. I love ships, trains. I like the technology of that. Now, and fantasy, I love fantasy too. I like dramas, even just straight on dramas where it's just characters.
Mhm.
But I love all kinds of stories, to be honest. I'm kind of generalizing a bit, but I do love all kinds of stories, and I would love to tackle different kinds. I hope to be a bit of a Swiss Army knife one day in terms of a writer, tackle different sorts of things. I like boys manga, shonen. I like shoujo manga too, but
Mhm.
for women, I like both.
Mhm. Now I'm going to put you in the hot seat. Best movies, books, and shows you've seen in the past 3 years.
Mm, uh, past 3 years.
Yep, off the top of your head.
I love Vinland Saga, the anime. Great show. Um, Sorry, I'm trying not to go past 3 years because I watch a lot of old stuff, as you know.
Well, you can if you need to. That's fine. I just pulled that number out of a hat. You know.
Okay. Maybe so. What I've seen within the last 3 years.
Uh-huh.
Okay. I love Vinland Saga. It's an anime about Vikings. Really, really good. Historical.
All
There's
right.
not really anything else like that. I love. Let's say I love Devilman. Devilman's an old '70s manga. It's really good. It's about a boy, finds out he's a devil man. Very similar to Life is Death, actually.
He has problems, right?
Yeah. But very similar story, and also I love Gundam. I'll just lump all the Gundam. I love mechs.
I watched Gundam.
Oh, which Gundam?
Did you watch Mobile Fighter G Gundam?
No, I know it, but I haven't seen it yet.
So how about Gundam Wing?
I've seen some of it, not all of it yet.
Which Gundam shows did you watch?
Well, I'm kind of starting at the beginning. I've seen the original. There's like a movie compilation. So I've seen the original. I've seen the original Gundam, and I love it. And I'm in the middle of Zeta Gundam, which is the one after that, and it's really good.
Yeah.
There's another Gundam I've seen, but there's so many.
Fascinating shows, weren't they? And they really, for playing with the similar visual concept of that particular brand of mecha warriors, they really did branch out pretty broadly in their storytelling. You know, like
yeah,
like G Gundam was all about martial arts and antics and family and all this. Gundam Wing was this war drama that was pretty much as great as Game of Thrones, but it was Gundam.
Yeah, for viewers, by the way, who may not be familiar with Gundam, I will say this is a good education in that, everyone hears Gundam and they just think, oh, it's mechs. It's like the toy robots, it's just mechs.
Uh-huh.
But it's not just mechs. Like what I talked about with character, the thing that makes each Gundam series unique that you were talking about is the different characters and the dynamic that shapes it, like how they use their mechs and what's the theme of the story, or what's the, is it a hardened war story, which some of them are, or is it kind of more fun and loose and competitive, which I believe G Gundam kind of leans a little more towards, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, yeah.
So for people who think that, like, oh, it's just mechs, like all mech stories are the same or anything like that, there's a lot you can do even within certain genres, a lot of different things, as me and Alec know from Gundam, for example.
That's right. So Nick, you may not know this about me from watching, but whenever I do this show, I am completely unscripted. So there comes a time in every show where I love to ask the talent, do you have any comments for me or the audience, or questions for me or the audience that you would like to ask?
So I don't know.
I'll write it to the next one. That's all good. But I love to give guests the opportunity. If so.
Well, I'll ask the audience this. How do you feel about content creation, guys? I mean, I know I've just talked about me, but what's your process like in art? If there's any artists, what's it like to create a piece? What got you into it? Is there any particular thing that inspired you, or whether as a writer, is there any particular thing that inspired you, or trying to find a style? I would say that's one thing I find interesting, trying to find a style. Anyone's experience was easy? Are they still learning?
Yeah.
I know it's a very big, broad question, but let me know what you guys
question. And for those of you who are watching on Instagram, I just want to let you know real quick that should we go off Instagram for any reason, my device is a little bit low right now, is why I bring it up. In case we go off Instagram for any reason, I just want to let you know you can also catch this show on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch for the duration of the program. So if there should be any complications, you can just hop right over to the next social media platform, and we will still be here, still be talking. Please do write us your replies, because that is a great question. I want to hear what everybody thinks, what your processes are like. And by the way, also, if those of you in the audience would love to book your own interview on Drop a Line, reach out to us at OneTruePromotion2020 Gmail, or right here in our inbox, and we'll set something up. So while the audience is answering that question, Nick, I want to ask you, what have been some of we talked a lot about your work as an author, your work as an artist. You mentioned getting involved on social media. That's all been a part of your journey up to today. I want to ask you, what have been just some of the greatest or most recurring challenges that you faced along the way?
Well, that's the thing. Well, what I talked about sounds like, wow, you're in good shape going forward. Like, you're an author, you're an artist, and I will say this, that's been the greatest challenge, balancing them out, finding time to do both, finding time to do a little, because the thing is for people, I've kind of alluded to this, some people are kind of just do one thing, like, oh, I'm an artist. I'm an author. I'm a filmmaker. I'm all of them. Like me, I'm all of them. I do many things, and I work, full-time job. That's the difficulty. For me, it's finding time to still learn and experiment, but also make new things that are of high quality for my audience. Balancing it out, I would say that's the most difficult thing. Trying to stay on top of everything you're into, because going forward, I'll tell people briefly what I'm looking forward to the future. I figured you may ask that question, but looking forward for me, so like Life is Death, for example, is a book, like with just words on the inside, and uh, here's an artistic piece
There
real
we
quick.
go.
So, just wanted to show, I would love to include stuff like that, art in novels possibly, or even maybe make manga, combine them. So that's what I'm looking forward going forward. I think I'm going to make the next project I'm going to make is probably a novel, and I'll probably put illustrations. I want to do different kinds of stories, but yeah, sorry, I don't mean to drift too off, Alec, but yeah, bottom line is balancing it out. That's the tough part.
Yeah, no, drift, please drift. Answer open ended. We just want to hear about you. The interviews can go in any direction. That's every show.
But yeah, Ray, what do you think about that though? Like trying to balance out your side. I'm sure you
really. I keep telling you tonight, you're hitting every nail on the head. I have been struggling so much to balance recently. It used to be because my attention was pulled in so many directions. I've grown up with ADHD, and when I started making stories, as with
Yep.
Here's the funny part. That's what used to hold me focused. Lately, I've actually gotten a lot better at focusing on just one or two stories that are part of longer series to focus my attention on. But I've been pulled between different obligations. I've been pulled between work. I've been pulled between writing. I've been pulled between promotion. I've been pulled between setting up a future for myself, figuring out graduate school. I've been pulled between getting a new job because I decided not to go back to school in the middle of COVID. So I had to suddenly start applying for jobs again. I mean, recently, I've been pulled to studying for a praxis exam to get my standard certification as teacher. I mean, I've just been pulled in so many directions. And this ain't even the worst of it. I know people very close to me that are pulled in even more directions. And then what happens is if you have a job, such as being a teacher, for instance, where you have to lesson plan and prep, you end up with all of your day hours and most of your evening hours eaten up, even though you're still being pulled in that many directions.
Yeah.
People can really, like earlier I mentioned that people who have, I might have misconstrued my thoughts on something. I mentioned that people who have imposter syndrome say things like, I don't have the time. Well, it's true. Sometimes you don't have the time, and sometimes it's very hard to find the time. And it really is a challenge for all of us, I think. It just, balance is key. You know what I mean? Like,
I'll tell people, this is a phrase I have for myself, and it's hard to live by because, yeah, it is hard to find the time. But I always say, do something in your day, like even if it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour, do something. Doing something is better than doing nothing because something will get you something in the end, no matter how long it is later on, but nothing will get you nothing. I always say, something will get you something, nothing will get you nothing.
Exactly. That's perfect. That's marvelous advice, Nick. And I would like to add to that real quick. I got this amazing advice from my girlfriend and our creative consultant, Carrie, just last night, actually. She told me, work smarter, not harder.
She said, don't work. That advice too.
She said, don't work harder, work smarter. Because, you're working hard, you're working at all these different things. We kind of grow up with this mentality where we got to work harder. We got to show people that we can work. You know what I mean? We got to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps. We got to brush it over our shoulders. Damn it. We need to get this stuff done. But what if we're not doing any of those jobs the right way or in the most profitable way or in the most productive way? It really actually did kind of change my life, although it's only been a day. Work smarter, not harder.
Wow, yeah, that is great advice. It sounds simple, but it's I'm hearing it right now. It's a wake up call to me because
Yep.
I'll briefly touch on. I fell into that. One issue I have sometimes personally, just to warn people, is there is a danger of your hobby when you start treating it like a job, kind of like where it's like, oh, I have to meet this quota, and I have to, and you start getting mad at yourself if you don't. But your hobby should, like, yeah, you want to work well at your hobby and do a good job, but you also, you know, if you're not having fun though, and I fell into this too, then it's not going to be fun for you, and it may even not even be fun for your own audience. Maybe that could seep in a bit and they could tell, this thing's off or something. So
That's right.
that's great advice, and it's good to work smarter. And because to me, what it sounds like is you want to maintain your happiness too, and maintain your enjoyment in what you do, rather than treating it too clinically.
Absolutely. And, you know, I could just real quick before I turn it back over to you. I had a very key experience with that in my previous career. I published 2 books in my Meridian trilogy. The second book, the first book I published in 2017. The second book, I was, for some reason, we don't need to go into it, I was obsessed with getting that book out the following year in 2018. I was obsessed. It had to be 2 straight years of published books. Well, I not only was that process of that second book rushed, it was incredibly stressful. And to be honest, I have very few fond memories of writing that book. And it's actually probably, I try to be a person who has no regrets. I just kind of reflect upon my choices and carry on to the next day. And I try to turn everything into a positive. So I don't really carry too many regrets around. But that is one regret I do have, is that, and it was a learning experience, so it had to happen for what I'm doing right now. But books, you know, it's good to have a goal in mind. It's good to have a publication date in mind. It's good to be consistent and to not let things drag out and for there to be long gaps between your work. Yeah. But a good story, not only does it need time, tender love and care, but it needs to be enjoyable when you go to that place. It needs to be, when you, I find personally, when you turn a book over to the audience, it's gone. It's theirs now. While it's yours, you got, it's like having a relationship to your kids, you know, while it's yours, you got to take advantage of that time and have good experiences and good memories. And to validate something you said, of the book I rushed, I have been told there's way too much telling and not nearly enough showing. I've been told that. And when the person told me that, I said, well, to be honest, it was a rushed project. I'm not surprised.
But yet again, that's a great learning experience, because now you know from that rushed year. So my theory was right, too, that if you do that to yourself, it sounds like that the result of that actually fed into your own readers, where they could tell, this seems off. Like, was this rushed, you know? And you do not want that. It reminds me, too, Alec, I wanted to make this point. I was asking myself the other day, you know, a very simple question about, like, because again, you know, we're all still learning in a certain way of how to balance out our time and, you know, work on what we want to work on. But I asked myself, would I rather make a drawing every day, like try to make a drawing every day just for the sake of getting it done, like meaning the work hard mentality? Or would I rather get a drawing done at the end of the week, take my time, put in more details than I maybe would have? And like, would I rather have a better drawing at the end of the week, or would I rather have more drawings that are subpar quality and could be rushed and maybe aren't detailed enough? I would much, much rather take the week and work on a piece longer and get a more detailed result that I've labored longer over. And longer meaning also that you're just taking the right amount of time, because if you rush something, it won't be, you know, same thing as what Alex said. I've seen it happen with myself too. You know, it's the pieces that people respond to are definitely ones that I lean towards, you know, taking my time, being very thorough, you know.
Absolutely. Amen to that. And we have 2 comments I'd love to answer. We have one from Professor Kristen Jacobson. Thank you so much for watching the show. It is a joy to have you here.
Hi, Professor Jacobson.
She says to us, you are both doing Stockton proud. Love to listen to you both talk about your artistic practice. thank you very much, Professor Jacobson. And I must say, it was an honor and a privilege to learn from you and be a part of your class. It truly was a huge growing experience, and I am very blessed to have had that. So thank you.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, your literary interpretation class was, you learned a lot, and your essays made me very on top of how to write very effectively, for sure. Thank you for your kind words. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Nick and I, for those of you who don't know, Nick and I are both graduates of Stockton, and Stockton has an exquisite literature program with some of the best professors on the planet. Those are memories I carry in my heart every single day of my career. And it's a shame that visitations are so hard in today's world, but hopefully we'll all be getting through that soon. And also, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, well, I work there now, actually.
That's good.
Now, so visitation for me pretty easy because now I'm stuck there. But yeah, strange times right now. I agree with you. Very strange.
Strange times that I think will end up producing a whole lot of books from a whole lot of people, including me. And Carrie says to us, I'm always being pulled in so many directions as well. I discovered that with poetry, I try to get still, think about the beauty in a situation, and try to uncover a natural meter that sounds conversational and is important to me for that day. Yes, I love that. I love that she talks about getting herself still, because that is such a great point about being in that space where you're going to create something. Do you want to reply to that, Nick?
Yeah. Could you repeat it? I heard it was being still, like before you.
She says, sure, I'll repeat again. She says, I'm always being pulled in so many directions as well. I discovered that with poetry, I try to get still, think about the beauty in a situation, and try to uncover a natural meter that sounds conversational and is important to me for that day.
That's great. Great point. That's see, everyone's process, it's we all got our ways of how we move forward and maintain our effectiveness and happiness. So we do not want to become the crazy author who's rushing to to get his book published in a year or something.
You don't want to become this guy right here. You don't want that. Don't do this. Those of you who are watching, please know that you do not want to become this old man. You want to become this fine, dapper young gentleman, either down below or to my, I think technically you're to my right, but actually you're on camera, you're to my left. So, I don't know, be like Nick, don't be like me.
The best advice for all of you.
Exactly. See, he knows. I like a person who's modest enough to just tell the truth. So we're running close to time tonight, but I wanted to ask you, Carrie brought up a great point about how art is conversational. Poetry is conversational. It talks about a specific moment that is important to you in a moment of your day, in the present, which is exactly what I value when I'm trying to, enjoy the art that I am creating while I have it before I turn it over to other people. Now, how does that translate to you, though, as an author and as an artist? What would you, what does conversational mean to you as an author and an artist?
Well, that's a good question. That's got me thinking. But what I learned in college, and it's crucial that people know this, is that it is all about communication. Any art, there are techniques there. Now, I know people say there's no rules to art, and in a general sense, that's kind of true. But there are ways, let's take art, for example. I like how a certain artist draws eyes. Eyes are a big communicator, and the expression they convey. There are techniques, and art is all about communication and utilizing those techniques that you learn from prior masters, so to speak, whether you resonate with a certain writer's style. Not that you copy it, so to speak, but maybe you just talk in a similar way, and maybe that seeps in your writing. Similar with me for art. It's all about communication. How do I want my audience to feel? How do I want my audience to react? It's not like you're, the Wizard of Oz who's being all manipulative or like that. It's your, but you do want to be on top of that, though. You don't want to. It's not all about you. Like it is in a way, but it's also you gotta, to some extent. And I know it's hard for people. It's hard for me too, and it's hard for all of us. But you do need to some level step outside as as an outside reader. And I've gotten better at that over the years. I would say for the first book, it was most difficult because it's your first book. You're so attached to it, but yeah. Try to lean into both is what I would say is my advice there.
That's right. Yep. Feel what you're feeling. All of your thoughts and feelings and emotions, everything that's a part of you that gets channeled into this book, and then create a product that goes into the market. The product isn't you, it just came from you. It's something created with aspects of who you are,
I'm not going to lie. I treat this as if someone else wrote it. I think of myself as so this was written by Nicholas Georgel, the author, a couple of years ago. That's some other guy. I'm now Nicholas Georgel, the marketer, and I'm marketing this guy's book. That's the way I think of it. This is, buy this person's book. It's you think of it in a different sense. And it's good to separate yourself. That once it's out, it's out. It's now a product.
That's right. That's right. Nick, we are running close to time for the show tonight, so I want to ask you what's usually my last question, and then I'll ask you if you have any closing remarks. But I would like to ask you, what can we do to support you? And is there anything upcoming that you would like to promote while you are here?
Okay. Yeah. So I would say I have a website if you're interested. Pretty much is for my arts, Nicholas Georgel Arts. I have not done any commission work yet, but there are. You can contact me through my social media sites. I have a Facebook and a Instagram. Those are my primary places for my art. I would say if any of you are interested in any commissions, I am open to it, and you can DM me through there. My Instagram is @NickGeoArts. Nick Geo Arts. It should be on the handle at the bottom if you were on StreamYard, which is YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Well, I'm already there. Nick Geo Arts. You can reach out to me through there. Follow me, please, there and all the places. Follow my works. That's my central hub. News of any authors. I'm consolidating everything to my arts page because I will promote my own novels in the future through visual format. Since social media is such a visual format. So, go to those places, www.nicholasgeorgelarts.com. Nicholas Georgel Arts is the name on Facebook, and Nick Geo Arts on Instagram. Those are my places. Please follow me there.
Excellent. Nick, do you have any closing remarks?
Yes, I would say, and also, if you're interested in the book, I would say, little tip, search my name, Nicholas Georgel. That's George with an L at the end. For some reason, Amazon, if you search the title, it just doesn't come up. If you search my name, my author name, it will come up. Keep creating, everybody, as we're still living through a pandemic as we're doing this recording. Stay inspired as much as you can. Find what inspires you and steal from it. Don't steal from it, but take what you love and apply it to your work is my advice. It's what I've learned. Don't run away from your influences. Embrace them, take them, and apply them. That's what I try to live by.
Excellent advice. Thank you for sharing that with us, Nick. Nick, thank you for being on the show. Thank you for dropping by for Drop a Line at 9. It was a pleasure to have you. Thank you also for being a part of One True Promotion. It has been an absolute pleasure to work with you, and we will see you next time.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me, Alec. Really appreciate it.
Take care, man. Thank you all for watching the show tonight. Good night. Be safe. We love you. See you next time.